Hello, it's Willie from the Ozarks. It's April the 29th, and we are ready for lesson 119 in A Course in Miracles workbook for students. We've been 119 days since January the 1st. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. To give and to receive are one in truth. Okay. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. It's for morning and evening review. That was lesson 107. This is a review of lesson 107 and 108. 107 being truth will correct all errors in my mind. And the second paragraph, I am mistaken when I think I can be hurt in any way. I am God's son, whose self rests safely in the mind of God. To give and to receive are one in truth. That's lesson 108. To give and to receive are one in truth. I will forgive all things today, that I may learn how to accept the truth in me and come to recognize my sinlessness. Wow. So that's what we're going to be looking into. We'll come back and look at that in a moment. I want to just bring our attention before we go to this next lesson. Yesterday, lesson 118. God's peace and joy are mine, and let me be still and listen to the truth. Were you successful? When you look back, were you successful? Did you do a good job? Were you comfortable with the way you handled the day? I look back at today and yesterday, and I think I probably could have done a little better. And it kind of motivates me not to make myself feel guilty or sinful. That's exactly what we're trying to free ourselves from. But we can say, I could have done a little better job. And knowing that, I have to do a little better today now. And it's like a little commitment, at least I do to myself. I say, okay, well, I can do better today. And I'm going to try. All right. So in that first one, God's peace and joy are mine. Today I will accept God's peace and joy in glad exchange for all the substitutes which I have made for happiness and peace. Wow. Today I will accept God's peace and joy in glad exchange for all the substitutes which I have made for happiness and peace. Okay, wow, he's calling peace and joy happiness and peace. Peace and joy is happiness and peace. Same thing. In other words, peace and peace. He puts peace first, peace last on one phrase. He puts the word joy last in one phrase, the word happiness first in the other phrase. Anyway, he's just helping us to recognize that whatever your definition for joy is, make sure it includes happiness. And whatever your definition for happiness is, make sure it includes joy. And whatever your definition for peace and happiness, make sure it includes peace. Okay, so that's what he's trying to get us to see. Let me be still and listen to the truth. Did you do that yesterday? What I'm trying to say before, were you still and listen to the truth? Did you listen to whether or not you were doing the first part of it? Today I will accept God's peace and joy in glad exchange for all the substitutes which I have made for happiness and peace. Or did you take that idea and did you pause and answer the question that it begs to ask? Did you say, yes, I have today accepted peace and joy, and I have given up my substitutes for peace and joy that I thought I made to make me happy as a separated self, which can't be. And did you sit still and listen to the truth? Let me be still and listen to the truth. Did you do that? Let mine own feeble voice be still. Let that substitute for truth voice be still. Let my own feeble voice be still. And let me hear the mighty voice of truth itself. Assure me that I am God's perfect Son. Okay, well there it is right there. Did you feel like you did that? If not, pause and take another meditation before you go to the next lesson, and give yourself one moment of really being in the presence of God and receive His peace and joy, and be still. More than anything, learn to be still, because in that stillness we'll find the peace and joy. All right. And I want to tell you something. One of my favorite Bible verses is in Psalms 46. And I'm going to read it to you out of this Gideon Bible that was given to me by a motel owner in Branson, here in the Ozarks. And anyway, I thank you. I just want to thank the Gideons for passing these books out. It's the King James Version, and it's real simple. Doesn't have a lot of, I don't think it has any footnotes. I kind of like that. It's just a simple King James Version, okay? 46. So anyway, thank you, the Gideons, for passing this out and all the work you guys do. Thank you. Well, this here, one of my favorite Bible verses is Psalm 46, verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. You know, we could look at more of it on both sides of it, and sandwiched into a lot of really not fun things. Read that chapter 46 in Psalms. It's a beautiful chapter. Thinking about how that He's going to make a world that's going to be barren or desolate from spears and clubs and different types of warfare. You know, that He's going to make that be a thing that's not going to be. But it's going to be, I see it, that it's all because we're going to learn that when we're still, we're going to all be peaceful and happy, and we don't need to hurt each other. We're all brothers and sisters. That's what we want to start seeing, the truth. We need that for each other. Okay, let's see. Before I go on to the lesson, 119. I hope I said 119 a while ago. Anyway, 119. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. To give and receive are one in truth. Before we look at that, I want to show you something. I'm really kind of excited about this. This is a poblano ancho pepper. I don't know the proper Spanish speaking. I need to have someone give me some tutor lessons, because I respect all the people I've met that speak that language, and they're all good. I know a lot of good friends that, and I probably should ask them the proper pronunciation. But for whatever that's worth, I'm excited about growing this pepper. It's a hot pepper. It was developed down in this area. The name of the pepper and the name of the area it was developed, I think, are either similar or identical. And you know, I've eaten those peppers. I think this is the ones, I mean, that we've used in a lot of the dishes that we've made. Friends of ours that have made different Mexican dishes. So I'm looking forward to developing it, keeping the seed, and having my own little cultivar that is, you always pick your best plant from the seeds you plant, and with that variation that you come with each seed allows you to pick and choose which ones do better in your land and your climate and your situation, which ones taste the best to you. And then what you do is the next year you plant it, you take those better plants and you keep the seeds off those, and you do that. And as you keep doing that year after year, you develop some varieties that are really good for you. It tunes you into the earth where you live, and they're good for your health and for the health of the planet. All right, so lesson 119 for morning and evening review. 107, truth will correct all errors in my mind. I am mistaken when I think I can be hurt in any way. I am God's son, whose self rests safely in the mind of God. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. I am mistaken when I think I can be hurt in any way. I am mistaken when I think I can be hurt in any way. Oh, imagine what that's saying to us. I am mistaken when I think. I am mistaken when I think I can be hurt in any way. Wow. What a nice thing to be saying when we catch ourselves during the day and we start thinking, well, I'm kind of thinking that I'm vulnerable in this situation. Well, that's being hurt in some way. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just stop right then and just say to yourself, well, I must be mistaken when I think I can be hurt in any way. Be a little silly with yourself. Have fun with this, because you can step into the true self and it's a lot more joyful. All right? It's probably one of the best things I ever told anybody, really. I am mistaken when I think I can be hurt in any way. In other words, if you can step into the humorous self, what Zukov called the humor of the universe. You know, it's the pleasantness of growing, of awakening. It's the joy of knowing that you're cared for, and you, no matter what's happening in appearances, you're cool. You're cool. You're good. You're beautiful. You're perfect. You're safe. You're cared for. You're having the best experience of all that could ever be. That's always what's going on. I am mistaken when I think I can be hurt in any way. I am God's son whose self rests safely in the mind of God. I am God's son. If you're a daughter and you making that hard for you to say, I'm God's son, well, say, I'm God's daughter whose self rests safely in the mind of God. I guarantee you the Holy Spirit will be glad whatever you do to make it meaningful to you. We must feel the goodness. We must feel the what's the word? Our direction. We want to make it sure by the best word I have is feeling, but it should be reasonable. Obviously, we don't want to say feeling is more important than reason, or that reason is more important, or that one of the others. It's like it takes both parts to be whole. So, give it all your feeling. There might be a lot that you're not giving it. That's what I'm trying to say. So have fun with this. I am God's son whose self rests safely in the mind of God. Wow. To give and to receive are one in truth is lesson 108. To give and to receive are one in truth. You've heard me say that 2 or 3 times over the last few lessons. So it's a hinge pin, I think. I mean, it's a big one for my mind. Or they're all big for my mind. That's why I've been studying this book for so many years, because I just keep thinking, wow, there's so much more there. I wish I could get it. To give and to receive are one in truth. I will forgive all things today, that I may learn how to accept the truth in me and come to recognize my sinlessness. I will forgive all things today, that I may learn how to accept the truth in me and come to recognize my sinlessness. So for today on the hour, truth will correct all errors in my mind. Say that on the top of the hour. Remember, he wants us to have structure in our lives. He does say that time is not the best way for advancing in salvation or in living salvation. I forget exactly the way he said it. But he said time is not the best way. But he said it does introduce structure, which will be useful for us. So somehow he wants us to have some kind of structure. And I think it's because he wants us to be like really good examples of what a recognized man or woman would be like, in the world's mind even. Like, hey, there's somebody that knows how to get to their appointments on time, and they do everything right. They got enough structure that they're dependable. I think that's kind of what he wants. But I think he wants us to have our spontaneity, though. I mean, ultimately, that's all we're going to have. We're going to always be structured because we're following Spirit. But in the meantime, we have a little structure and keep things in, a good semblance of what is acceptable, and that's loving. All right, so So to give and to receive are one in truth. I will forgive all things today. I already read this, but I want to say it again. I will forgive all things today that I may learn how to accept the truth in me and come to recognize my sinlessness. Okay, remember, when we forgive all things today, how do we forgive? We forgive ourselves for making that judgment, for looking at things in an erroneous way. And we're going to look at things in a true way now, where we love everyone and where we're not vulnerable. We understand that we were mistaken when we thought we could be hurt in any way, because we're God's Son who self-rests safely in the mind of God. And so on the hour today, truth will correct all errors in my mind. And then in our structure, on the half hour, say, to give and to receive are one in truth. And remember, try to keep that idea going for a while. In other words, apply it to the things you're thinking. You know, if you, in that moment, if you're thinking of an idea like, I'm scared of somebody, or I don't like what's going on, or whatever, well, that's when you would say, oh, I'll forgive all things today that I may learn how to accept the truth in me and come to recognize my sinlessness. Or you might say, I'm mistaken. At the top of the hour, you'd say, well, I'm mistaken when actually what you'd say is, truth will correct all errors in my mind. But then maybe you would come to the memory, or you'd think to yourself, I am mistaken when I think I can be hurt in any way. I remember we studied that this morning. I don't need to be mistaken. And when I am mistaken, well, I can change my mind and not be mistaken anymore. All I got to do is remember that I'm God's Son and I rest safely in the mind of God. All right? Okay, so truth will correct all errors in my mind. To give and to receive are one in truth.